welcome to Meow Mix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven,
My name is Jerry.
and we're here to wrap up week one of the preseason, talk about week two of the preseason, talk a little bit of Panthers news, just, kind of sit around and talk about our favorite football team, Jerry.
That's something we do very often.
Yes.
Very, very often.
Yeah, we had like a post podcast discussion last week that went like half an hour almost just talking after the podcast about the same stuff we'd already talked about. It was
Yeah,
pretty
how
fun.
the podcast was actually created.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so we've got a lot. Not a ton of things to talk about today, but we are going to kind of give our thoughts on what we might look at coming up this week. But Jerry, I'm gonna let you have it for all the fun ancillary stuff.
Yes. First, starting out, I want to thank RJ for the suggestion on Twitter. He suggested us getting a phone number for people can text in their thoughts of games or, just some of our discussions, make it a little easier instead of the email all the time. But you could also leave a voicemail, and we did go ahead and do that. 980-494-0071. You could save that number in. Anytime you see something or want to talk about it, you could shoot us a text or call and leave a voicemail. Yeah, we'll put them on the show as much as we can, within varigs. Obviously, no cussing and stuff. We don't try to curse too much, so...
Yeah, one of the things that we've heard that people like about our show is that they can listen to it in the car with their kids. So, just keep it civil. That's
Yeah.
all. Also, we'll put that phone number on our background here too. Just kind of have it up all the time so people can
Oh, yeah, that's a
see
good
it.
idea. Wish I'd have thought of that earlier before we started recording, but I'll do that next time.
There you go.
We're running a classy show here. Everything is,
Hey, real professional
yeah.
operation.
Also, check out our T Public store. The Carolina Reaper shirt selling good. Link will be in the bio as always. Go check out some of our shirts. Got some cool shirt designs. And
Meow Mix, home of the original Carolina Reaper, by the way.
yes, the original.
Yeah, we that's us. Okay. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, that's all I've got. As always, please like us on Apple and subscribe on YouTube. But other than that,
Yeah, and leave us some comments on our YouTube channel or via email, as Jerry said. We do have a few from our recap of week one that I just kind of wanted to bring up a couple of them here. Ja Rule, Rhule. So I don't know if this is a play on Matt Rule or what, but he basically had a little bit of a nitpick about our thoughts that the preseason doesn't really matter, that we're not overly concerned. Basically says, how do Panthers fans watch the same stuff every year and say it doesn't matter? Preseason looks like every year, and it's followed by a regular season that also looks like, but don't panic, it's no big deal. Yeah, I think, for me especially, I was more talking about the score, the fact that we lost the game, like that doesn't matter. Obviously, we've seen in the past teams not look good in the preseason, Panthers teams not look good in the preseason, and that carries directly into the regular season. If this feels a little different to me because our first team did actually look pretty good, beat the Browns 7-0.
and the worst play I saw on the first team was that sack given up by the third string guard that was starting in place of injured, players. So or Damian Lewis. So,
but it was mainly just a kind of a call out to everyone who's absolutely panicking that the Panthers lost 30-10. That doesn't matter. That legitimately doesn't matter. So that's all I wanted to say about that. A lot of people agreed that we're not panicked. First team has looked good. In fact, Tommy 373402 rolls right off the tongue. He took a little bit of offense to the fact that we weren't overly effusive in our praise of the first team. He thinks that Bryce looked awesome and that the first team looks so good that things are gonna roll into the regular season and that we should be stoked about it. He mentioned that the next offseason we have a ton of cap space and that basically this is the beginning of something big. And yeah, I agree. But again, with the not getting too low, I'm also not going to get too high on the preseason.
Yes.
So that's sort of where I'm coming from there. But Bryce did look good. It is exciting. It is nice to see competent Panthers football, even if it is in the preseason. But again, I'm not going to get too low. I'm not going to get too high.
Yeah,
Preseason.
I will say that I did get very high when he threw that touchdown because that was the Bryce we saw at the end of last year that we hadn't seen previous. And that looked like what he was doing towards the end of last year that you felt like it's him and it felt like he was comfortable again. And that's really my biggest fear of the year is him reverting back, but that play kind of reminded me, okay, it looks like he's still in his comfort zone. Good.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, Bryce looked really good. 6 for 8. The one bad pass to Chuba and then the drop.
And that was
to
his
T-Mac.
first pass. Oh, yeah.
Right. So I thought he looked really good. But yeah, I mean, another Astro Creep 77 talking about basically we're building this team. It's a young team. Can't rebuild Rome in a day.
No.
Kind of deal. So working on the offense, working on the defense. The defense taking a little longer, but they were in much worse shape, I feel like, than the offense was, especially when Bryce started to come around last year. Things started clicking offensively. So that, just a couple of tweaks here and there, and the offense could be very good. And we hope that it is. But the defense is going to take a little time. So
yeah, I mean, again, it's you can't fix everything in one off season. And this
right.
team was completely depleted previously by former regimes and stuff like that, and we saw it. Last year, what they did is they're like, let's fix the offense. Let's see what we have in Bryce. Let's make sure we give him a good opportunity to showcase. And he did showcase that. Well, now this year, they went ahead and started fixing that defense. But the depth on both sides of the ball is not great. I mean, they're still trying to dig themselves out of 2 years ago. I mean, it's going to take time.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. But again, a lot of cap space next year. So next year could be, that's kind of what I'm targeting in my mind is this year is sort of another step.
Mm-hmm.
Next year should be, that's when I'm going to have some real expectations, I think. And then just a shout out to Book of Joshua 4L, who says best Panthers coverage by far. That Jerry and I compliment each other very well. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Definitely appreciate that. Jay on our last video also kind of gave us a shout out. He does all the time. So definitely appreciate everybody. Our new subscribers. We got several new subscribers from off the video last week. So thank you. Welcome. Tell your friends. We're trying to grow this thing organically because we don't have a lot of time to put into promotion or anything like that. So it's all word of mouth pretty much.
All right. Now, 9 minutes in, let's discuss actual Panthers news.
Let's do it.
Training camp, just getting on some of the injury news. J.C. Horn has been practicing after his car accident. It's still up in the air whether he's going to play against Houston. I'll be curious on how much they interact with Houston on the, practices. But that'll be something to keep an eye on, if he's out there with the, the playing constantly. It'll be fun. Derek Brown practicing. Great news. Great news. Something I expected. Another guy I'm not sure will play on Saturday and not sure I want him to play on Saturday.
I would say him and Horn. I would be perfectly fine not seeing in the game. Now, Horn maybe a little less so because his injury is likely not one that's going to be exacerbated by playing out there, especially if it's wrapped up really well. But Brown, I think they should be extra careful with. We do not want to lose him again for the whole season or even a significant part of the season.
No, not at all. And also, Canales said that Chandler Zavala may be available next week for the last preseason game. So that's good news. That's again why we had our third string guard starting. Savala's injured. Damian Lewis was injured. I'm sure he could have gone if it wasn't, preseason.
I don't know. I keep hearing he's week to week,
Oh, really?
Damian Lewis. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
not
I don't
good.
know. I haven't seen any new injury information on him. But I looked earlier and didn't really see much of an update. But yeah, I'm a little concerned that he may not even be available for the regular season. But
Well, that's scary because
yeah, I'm hoping that that's not the case. But I'm starting to get a little concerned about that. But Zavala coming back, just the fact that he has experience with these other guys out there is going to be, you know, he's not the best guy in the world when it comes to playing that position. Would much rather have Damian Lewis in there, but he definitely had a bounce back season last year
and
from his rookie season.
there's another guard that's going to be available now that he lost the center battle to Austin Corbett. Cade Mays can also play guard.
True, true.
I,
Actually, and that we should talk about that. So Austin Corbett won the center competition. Canales, this made me smile. He was like, we just wanted to go ahead and announce it now, get it out of the way, let these guys practice with their respective teams at their respective positions. And I thought to myself, wow, imagine if Matt Rule would have done that when Baker Mayfield came along, when everybody in the world knew that he was going to end up being the starter for week 1, but they had this farce competition. They didn't let him get all the snaps. And then he kind of looked like crap the first few weeks,
yeah,
right? Imagine if he would have had the whole, from the time he got traded, the whole off, training camp and preseason games as the starter, things might have looked a little different. We obviously see now that he has the talent, right? He just,
it,
I don't know, but I smiled when Canales said that. And I was like, yes, yes. If you
it,
know who it's going to be, just make the decision and let him have the time.
pull the other guy aside, let him know, let the starter know, and then just announce it and move on. Like, I'm sure that, why do they want another dog and pony show? They don't. That's the point.
Right.
Now, the kicker battle will be a different things. I mean,
Well, there's no incumbent, right?
Yeah.
There's no obvious choice here. Austin Corbett has been with the team for a few years. Kind of lost a little bit with an injury or a couple injuries, I guess, but likely should be the guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and hats off to Cade Mays from starting last year to make it actually be a competition.
sure.
As a guy that, thrusted into the starting lineup, did well enough that, hey, we do need to look at this, both guys.
I think he's a 6th-round pick as well, right?
Yeah, he
Mays.
was a
Yeah.
he was a later round pick, and he's a guard that just again.
Right.
So
Well, he's one of those guys that can play multiple positions, but yeah, but hey, hats off, and it's nice to have that depth, especially if we need him at guard, a guy that's able to fill in. So, congrats to Austin Corbett, though.
yeah. Speaking of battles, the kicker battle is very up in the air. I don't know which way. I'm seeing more and more information that it may be a guy that's going to be from another team. That
Yeah.
so
Well, they're just not impressing, I guess, in camp. Fitzgerald. Keep wanting to call him Fitzpatrick. Fitzgerald got the field goal, towards the end of the game last week. But and I guess they liked the kickoffs for both guys. Both guys were kind of landing them in that zone that you want to land them in the kickoffs. So both did fine there. But yeah, it would not surprise me at all if another kicker is brought in here at some point. If one of these guys doesn't really show something, in this next preseason game or in these practices.
yeah, and that's what I think we have to really look at is, if they can continue on. But it doesn't seem like no one's really stretching out in a good way. So I'm sure one of these other guys will probably be picked up eventually.
We'll see. I hope not. I really don't want to have like the rotating kicker chair this year. We've had that before here in Carolina. And I hope one of these guys establishes themselves and just can kind of be the starter. And I don't really care which one, honestly. I just want one of them to come in and be accurate. Make all your extra points. That's rule number 1. And then rule number 2 is make your kicks when we need you to make them.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully hopefully one of these guys establishes themselves.
Now we'll discuss the unofficial depth chart that they just released in a little bit, but another player that's still going strong is Corey Thornton. He had a great preseason game. His name has been mentioned in all the training camp news and everything. And again, he's continuing to pop in all the camps. So hats off to you, man. That's one thing that's going on that I'm constantly hearing, and it's very good to hear. And then we saw it on that preseason game.
Yeah, I mean he looked good. He's looked good in camp, and he showed it in the game. And I expect to see it again. But that's great because that's another position, or a position that we identified as desperately needing some depth. And if he can provide that, that'll be great.
Yes. Now, what have you been hearing for them at camp?
Yeah, I mean, nothing really new, I guess, other than the center battle being established here. I haven't heard a ton. I did watch some one-on-ones with the receivers and DBs that one of the Panthers reporters put out the other day, and I swear, every time Jimmy Horn has like a one-on-one, he wins it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who it's against. He's winning it. He's just so fast. And then also Hunter Renfrow, man, his cuts are ridiculous. I think he had a guy fall down trying to guard him the other day. He's definitely making this roster as long as he stays healthy. I think the wide receiver cuts are going to be really, really tough.
I think I already kind of have an idea of who's making it and who's not. You've been mentioning those two guys, Jalen Coker. He showed up in the preseason game, and I've been seeing his name constantly in positive lights in camp.
He's actually one I'm a little concerned about.
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be on the other side of that line. I don't
think so either, but
I mean,
Canales has not been like demonstrative in the fact that Coker is definitely going to make the team. It seems like there's some question there, but he should, right? He should make the team. We'll see.
I was listening to somebody, and the way they talked about it when Dave Canales, it seems like it was going to. I wish I remember who was talking. It was probably one of the guys from WFNZ, but they were like, "Yeah, it's almost a foregone conclusion that he makes it now," and it should.
That's good. I hope so. Yeah.
I'm sorry, David Moore, but Coker has more potential than you do at this point of your career, and I would prefer to go with that potential over yours.
Well, do you want to jump into this unofficial depth chart here real quick, because we can kind of talk about that?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
All right. So let's just kind of, I mean, we know quarterback, we know running back. I guess the only thing with running back is ETN is listed as a third string, Blackshear now fourth string. I think that was flipped the first depth chart.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. But that does lead me to believe that ETN may have, an actual shot at making the final roster. But when you look at wide receiver here, first string, Leggett, McMillan, Thielen. Okay, no surprises there. Second string is Coker, David Moore, and Hunter Renfrow. And then you've got Jimmy Horn Jr. listed here in the third string. So it seems like it's going to be David Moore or Jimmy Horn Jr. if they keep 6. I'm surprised to still see Jimmy Horn Jr. listed
that
at
low?
Third string here. I thought maybe he would even jump Renfrow, given the fact that we haven't seen Renfrow in live action yet. I was kind of thinking it would be Coker, Horn, Renfrow, and then Moore kind of leading the third string. So what are your thoughts on that?
My only thought is maybe the fact that Jimmy Horn Jr. is probably not going to be an outside guy, and David Moore is more of an outside guy, and they're marking Jimmy Horn Jr. as more of a returner than anything else at this point of his career. That would be my only guess, but like you said, J.C. Horn even said you can't guard him one-on-one. Yeah. So I don't see any of those guys going except for David Moore. And it's unless they trade Coker. But why? I
Well,
feel like that would be such a dumb move after you got.
yeah. Just because we're probably not gonna spend too much time on it. I quickly looked at the returners, and they have Horn as the fifth string returner for kickoffs and punt returns right now. So with Raheem Blackshear being first string for both. So I hope to see more of him in the return role, especially if they're not going to give him a lot of wide receiver snaps, which they probably can't, given the actual depth at that position. So I would like to see him more in that role, but I tell you, man, even though he didn't do a lot with his catches in week 1, like we talked about, just every time he touches the ball, I kind of get like something's going to happen. I know something's going to happen, and I can't wait until it actually does.
And that's the thing that's what we're hearing is happening at camp. So I mean, if I'm hearing that, these beat writers minus David Newton know what they're talking about.
For the most part, yeah.
They see this constantly. Like they're out there watching the thing. Yeah, I had to backhand David Newton there for a second. Sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, you said his name right, so you gave him more respect than he deserves.
Which he doesn't do to our Panthers team.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. All right. I'll just finish out the offense here, Jerry. So tight end, first string, Jatavion Sanders. Now remember, Tremble is out, so he's not even listed here on the depth chart. Sanders first string, Mitchell Evans second string, James Mitchell third string. We talked about James Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of showed some stuff last week, so I wouldn't surprise me if he moves ahead of Mitchell Evans here at some point too.
I don't. I think Mitchell Evans is good, and I think with that draft pick,
I think he's good too, but I think James Mitchell is good as well.
Well, I think with that rookie status and them just drafting him, he's gonna stay. He's gonna stay in that second. They're gonna give him more opportunity. In my head, they're gonna give him more opportunity than a third round guy or a third year guy.
Yeah, well, I think they're gonna play whoever seems to play the best. Mitchell Evans is what, a 6th round pick, right? I don't think that he's earned any.
He may be a 5th, but either way, I think there's a lot of potential Mitchell Evans that, he just came off that injury in his last year at college, and he wasn't able to get back to his playing style the year before. So I just think that
I hope so. If so, then that means he's even better than what we saw from James Mitchell, which I thought was worthy of, third string once Tremble is back. So we'll see. But that's really the only ones to kind of discuss there. Left tackle, no surprises. Really, in the offensive line, other than center, no surprises. They've all kind of been the guys. So yeah, you want to look at the defense?
Before we go, I guess I'll talk about this, what we want to see in the game coming up. So we'll move on to the defense. This is the one that's shocked me. All the knowledge that we're getting out of camp, everything we're hearing. Corey Thornton is listed as the 4th string corner.
Yeah.
Behind the likes of Shamar Bartholomew, who supposedly had a decent beginning of camp, but hasn't really heard anything.
Didn't look great in the game.
No, he looked bad in the game. Pure and simple bad. Michael Reed. So Akileb Evans. I just don't understand why he's still down that depth chart. I want to see him go against bigger guys, and I want to see what he has. It seems like he's got something.
I mean, he undrafted rookie, right? Like, he's gonna have to earn his stripes. That one, again, I was a little surprised to see it. I agree with you. I thought he would have at least moved up above like Michael Reed or somebody, someone who I don't even remember seeing out there.
No.
But again, I don't mind a guy like that having to impress to earn his spot over guys who have played in the league, right? a Caleb Evans.
Yeah, I agree
For
that
example.
I want them to earn their spot, but I do feel like everything I'm hearing from camp and the preseason I watch, Corey
Sure.
Thornton has already earned a stripe or two to get ahead of some of these guys. You know, that's just
We'll see
me.
what the third depth chart look the third unofficial. I remember this is unofficial. So this is kind of like what things are looking like as we go into these joint practices, as we go into the preseason game. And remember, guys on the injury report do not count, or on the pup list do not count. So I agree with you. I think Corey Thornton, I hope he makes the team. He's looked great. We talked about him a little earlier as if he's a guy that can shore up the depth at corner, that would be amazing. Horn, Jackson, then Shaw Smith Wade, and Thornton, if he continues to play as well as he's played, that makes me feel pretty good. And then you have, whoever as your third string. I hope, maybe
Yeah.
Mr. TBD.
Yeah,
But
and that's another thing is you're 100% with TBD because there'll be some
yeah,
decent guys getting cut. Um,
sure.
but yeah, I agree. I just want him to kind of scoot up a little bit, at least. And this may be them trying to bury him on the depth chart because maybe they think, hey, maybe we could stash him and try to get him back on the practice squad. But I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I
But
I hope they don't try that
yeah,
because I don't think he'd last very long.
uh, one or two other surprises to me is Nick Scott is still starting at safety, and he looked bad. He looked bad at last preseason. Lathan Ramson and Damani Richardson seem to have outplayed him again in camp from what
Yeah.
everything's hearing, but they're still down on the second string, and I was kind of
And in the
hoping,
preseason game,
yeah.
they both looked way better in the preseason.
So I would like to see one of them get that starting safety and Nick Scott going back to second string and see if one of those can hang with the first string guys. I mean, just
Yeah, agreed. I mean, again, Lathan Ransom, later round pick, got to earn his stripes. But Damani Richardson was here last year, and he played
he
fairly
started.
well.
Yeah, he
Uh,
started for us as well.
so him, I could see supplanting on the second unofficial depth chart. Uh,
Well,
so not going to get overly worked up about some of these guys, especially the rookies who I feel like Canales is a guy that will want to light a little extra fire under some of these really young guys and maybe having them lower on the depth chart, especially like Corey Thornton. Because again, we talked about this on our recap, but Steve Smith was like, you don't want these guys out here making a couple plays and then all of a sudden thinking that that they don't have to
work is
take
hard.
direction, right, or work as hard. Well, you're still fourth string, my friend, which likely means that you are on the bubble at best. Maybe that's the message that Canales wants to see. Like, hey, you're still on the team. We're still going to play you, but you haven't earned anything yet.
And it could, but I also see it as a double-edged sword of, hey, Nick Scott, or I'm just gonna use Nick Scott here as a thing. Is you haven't been
Sure.
playing as well as these other two guys. They're gonna scoot above you because you have not been putting in the work that these two have been showing. They're showing more than you have. But
Yeah, well, Nick Scott's a veteran. He was with Evero. He's played in the system. Evero, I'm sure, is more comfortable with him right now. So, probably this early in camp, it's more of a comfortability thing. So we'll see. I would expect if things continue to go the way that they are, that we'll see a change on this
yeah,
next week this time. Yeah.
Last kind of surprising thing is they signed Chris Barnes, a former starter in this league, middle linebacker, last week. I understood he got a lot of playing time last week and he didn't look that great, but also he was just here for a week, not even a week. I'm shocked
Hmm.
he's still labeled as a four-string guy right now. Was hoping to see him acclimate to the defense a little bit better and faster. We'll see. But that one's kind of surprising because I thought we would see more of him this upcoming. Honestly, any interior linebacker play better. Everyone was bad.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Which again with cutting Josie Jewell, assuming health, which obviously we can't.
Yeah, that's
And
just
likely he will not play, but that's just such a big loss. Um, and one that they likely weren't expecting. I
no.
imagine if they knew that was going to happen, they'd have put a little more effort into that in the off season. But hey, guys are going to get cut. Guys are going to get cut. So don't be surprised if Christian Roseboom is not your starter week 1.
No,
Even though
100%.
right now it looks like he obviously will be. So we'll see. Okay, any other positions that kind of looked
No, I mean
interesting
everything
to you?
kind of stayed the same. Ashawn Robinson starting, Wharton starting, Derek Brown, Pat Jones, Trevin Wallace, Roseboom, DJ Wanham, Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, Moreg, and Nick Scott. Like, that's it. And everybody behind them is staying the exact same as well. So,
Yeah, Scorton and Princely still second string for outside linebacker.
and they're
Wouldn't
gonna be that.
expect anything else.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're gonna
Even
be.
though I thought Scorton looked great, and I could easily see him at some point this season taking over that role, but would imagine that he'll start the season as a backup.
Yeah,
They do have Matthew Wright listed as the first string kicker, with Fitzgerald as the second string. I think that's the same. Actually, I don't remember if that was the same as
yeah,
last
it was.
week, or if they were like co-starters or something. I don't
No, I
remember.
believe it was the same. That
Okay.
Wright was
Okay.
the, and again, income former player in the NFL.
Former Panther even.
Yeah,
Kick for the
so
Panthers. Okay. So okay. All right. Interesting.
all right. And now,
Moving on to the preview.
yeah, moving on to the practice preview slash preseason game preview against the Houston Texans. The game will be Saturday at 1. They're practicing on Thursday, which will probably get us some juicy hits from the beat writers. So, what are some of the
Yes.
big
Saturday
things
at
you're
1.
wanting to hear about or
Well, first of
watch?
all, Saturday at 1.
Did I not say that?
I don't remember the last time. And maybe it's been recent because I don't remember a lot of preseason. But I don't remember the last time that we had a 1 o'clock Saturday preseason game. It's typically like a Thursday night or a Friday night. So I was a little surprised when I saw the schedule. But yeah, Canales has said 3 series probably for the starters. So I would like to see 2 scoring drives from the starting offense, and I'd like to see at least 2, if not 3 and outs, 2 punts from the defense. To me, I think I'd be pretty happy with that. We know Houston is a pretty good team. I don't know what their starters are going to play, if they're going to play at all. But I would like to see the Panthers put the ball in the end zone at least once, and then field goal or another touchdown for the second drive, and then kind of keep points off the board on the other side.
Yeah, I agree with that, but one big thing I want to watch for is I want to watch that backup O line. That backup O line looked awful. They were really bad. They made Andy Dalton look really bad, which he could be really bad with all the rust, but overall,
Is that like a redhead joke?
a little bit. But like the backup tackles were awful. Brady Christensen as how do you say his name? Naheim. I can't say his name. You know who I'm talking about, right?
No, I don't. Keep going.
Yosh Nijman. Is that how
There
you
you go.
say it? Okay.
Nijman, yeah.
Nijman. But neither one of them looked good. Both of them graded out PFF Wife's horrible. So it wasn't just my eyes playing tricks on me. So I want someone to show up and look better than they did. And that was my big thing, is that where we know there's always going to be injuries on O-line. We have them now already. Let's have some guys show up that are backups that can prove it.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't want to watch the backup offensive line because it did make me so sad last week. But I would say I'd like to see them get. I know they're not going to be doing any sort of exotic blitzes or any kind of crazy defensive schemes, but I'd like to see them get pressure with the 4. I'd like to see a couple of sacks from the starting unit. I definitely would like to see, they did blitz from the safety position last week a couple of times successfully. So I'd like to say, or at least one of them was successfully. So I'd like to see a little more of that. But yeah, pressure with the front four, especially in the offense or the starting offense. And then even with Princely and Scorton, I'd like to see Princely show up a little bit in this game.
Mm-hmm.
He was a little disappointing to me again in week one. So I'd like to see some of him, but mainly that front four. I want to see some pressure. Don't give Stroud or whoever's back there time to throw the ball.
Yeah, no, and you're 100% correct. I want to see Princely. I've been hearing good things out of camp, how quick he is, and I didn't see it last preseason. I kind of want to see it. Nick Scorton, on the other hand, was awesome looking, in my opinion, but nothing has been coming out of camp about him. But he looked really good. I was like, oh, hello, glad we got you.
I guess he's just that guy that just goes in there and puts his work in, and it shows up when it's time to show up. So
I'm okay with
the
that.
lights are the brightest. Yeah,
Um,
agreed. I'd like to see another like a repeat performance from Scorton as well, just so we can like, oh, okay, this is real. Like this guy is actually going to be a player in this league.
I want to see middle linebacker, interior linebacker show up and look competent. None of them looked competent last week in the preseason game. So I want to hear them either make a tip of a ball. I want them to make a nice, good stop. I want to see them look confident where they're at with the play, diagnosing the play. I mean, I'm scared that Roseboom and Wallace aren't starting capable, and we're going to go into the season and struggle mightily.
That is a major concern. I agree. And which is why, we were just talking about, it's potentially a guy who's not on the team right now being the starter in week one. But I think Roseboom has talent. He had a lot of tackles last year. It was like 140 something, right? Like he at least was able to get guys on the ground. Trevin Wallace, rookie last year, thrust in that spot, wasn't really prepared for it, didn't look great. Year two of him, hopefully he's coming around, but yeah, I don't have a lot of confidence in that inside linebacker position. So I'll agree. I'd like to see something that gives me some kind of hope, at least, that one of these guys can at least not be a negative.
Yeah, and
right? Because I think they were both negatives in the first game.
And who knows if Nick Scorton or Princely or both really kind of shine so much that maybe you can move a Pat Jones in interior or something like that, or he can't play worse than what we've seen.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what Pat Jones' comfortability would be with that. Because your inside linebacker is typically your quarterback of the defense as well, right? He's got the dot. He's calling the defense. So I don't know if Pat Jones is comfortable doing that. But either way, I still maintain that I believe that there will be a major not a major addition, but another clarifies that position a little bit. And then I'm just going to go, Corey Thornton. We've talked about him a lot. I want to see him kind of go out there and take a spot away from somebody else. Tell Shamar Bartholomew that he's not going to be on this team. Tell Caleb Evans that his time has come and gone. This is Corey Thornton's time. I think he's got the talent. He's shown it in camp. He's shown it in preseason game week one. I want to see more of it. I think that the team obviously does as well, as we in their depth chart. But that would really he's a guy that I will be watching.
Yeah, me too. That's the last one I could kind of see on defense. Now on offense, I want to see Jimmy Horn Jr. I want to see him. I want to see him make that big play. I want to see him make a guy miss or two and then just either take it to the house or another 20-yard little play after a little screen or something. I want to see what all the hype is that's coming out of camp that I haven't seen yet.
100%. definitely want to see Horn Jr. I'm going to throw like an honorable mention to Hunter Renfro because I want to see him as well. I don't know that he'll be out there in the actual game, but I would love to see him. But the guy on offense who I'm most interested to watch is Xavier Legette. I want to see if he bounces back. I want to see him go out there and say, "Hey, yeah, I screwed up last week, but I'm still here." They still have him listed as first string on the depth chart, which is maybe not something I would have done. I think I'd have bumped him down to second string, if I'm being completely honest. But I want to see him go out there. I want to see him catch the ball. Catch the ball, catch the ball, and catch the ball. I don't care how many yards he has. I want to see him targeted 5 times and catch 5 balls. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Xavier Legette, who got such good publicity this offseason, just hasn't shined at camp. Like, I've heard some good things, but hasn't shined. And then the first preseason gets kicked out right away. Like, it just seems like a boneheaded mistake. And it just seems like I'm hoping for you to become this, but you supposedly you work out constantly and hard. Let's put it together,
Hey, it looks
man.
like it.
Like, yeah. Well, he started staying after practice with Chuba Hubbard to catch balls, and it was like, yes, that's what that's why I liked him coming out of college, is because I remember hearing that, he was at the NC State field practicing when coaches were calling to ask how he was. He's staying there, playing and practicing.
Yeah, and I don't know that he hasn't shined at camp. I haven't heard that he's looked bad, but he has definitely not been among the top 4 wide receivers that I've heard about. Right?
No.
Which I think is probably where you were going with that.
Yeah, T-Mac, Hunter Renfro, Jimmy Horn Jr.
Yeah, I've heard I've heard as much about Xavier Legette as I've heard about David.
I've heard a lot more about Legette than that, but
okay. I don't know that I have, honestly. By the way, David Moore, man, he just catches the ball.
He did. Yeah.
Had a few catches in the preseason. He's just a solid guy. The one-on-ones I was watching. He just makes nice moves. He's not ever going to be a guy that catches 1,000 yards, but if he does make the team, like, I don't feel bad when the ball goes to him. I know he's at least likely to catch it. So,
hey,
I don't know.
I have no problem with David Moore playing. He's looked good. He's a solid veteran guy. That being said, he's not starting on this team, and that's fine. If he was starting, I would be worried. But no, he's looking at the 6th receiver spot. So getting a quality veteran at 6, that's good.
Do you think they should keep 7 wide receivers? I mean, obviously, the obvious drop is David Moore. He's the obvious one to go. But
I would say you could drop David Moore and probably bring him back to the practice squad as a veteran guy. I think if you drop Hunter Renfro, he gets picked up. I think I don't
think you drop Hunter Renfro. I think he.
I
don't think he wants to. Yeah.
I'm going over the later guys here. Jimmy Horn Jr. I think he gets picked up too. I think a lot
100%.
And Xavier Legette, him and Coker, I think would be just so stupid to let even chance that.
Well, they would never drop Legette. They spent a first-round pick on him last year.
Yeah,
he's as safe. He and McMillan are the safest on the roster. And then I would say Thielen, assuming he doesn't get traded, Thielen right there. Coker, an undrafted guy. They don't have a lot invested in him other than some time. I could see if someone offered a 5th-round pick or something for him, I could easily see them taking that. Nobody's going to make an offer for David Moore.
No.
Hunter Renfro wants to be here and nowhere else, from what he says. So, they wouldn't trade him. Horn Jr., I think, just has to make the roster. He's just been too good in camp. And that is apparently they care more about that than they care about the preseason games, from everything we've heard. Like these joint practices, everything we've heard is that these mean more than anything else. So Interested to see how, we haven't really talked about the joint practice as much, but, I hope that we get some video maybe from Texans fans if they're actually allowed to be there. Some more kind of raw footage of what's been going on out there, because everything we've seen has kind of just been produced or sent out by beat writers and probably vetted first. So
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I don't know if I don't think they should keep 7. I think the smart thing would be let David Moore walk and sign him to the practice squad if it could be. I think getting rid of Coker, even for a 5th round pick, sounds like a moronic thing. I think Coker has starting qualities. He may not become like a superstar, but I think that guy could. He runs good routes. He has good hands. He knows how to work with the quarterback who's moving. So that's what Bryce Young's is. And yeah, I think right now my stock on Coker is higher than Leggett. Point blank.
Oh, I agree with you. And I do not want Coker to go anywhere. I'm just saying, would you rather keep... All right, let's say it comes down to Coker or Jimmy Horn Jr. You
Coker.
keeping Coker?
Coker.
Coker or Thielen?
I would go Coker just because this is Thielen's last year in my head.
You're really high on Coker. Wow.
I am. I do not think he's a number 1 guy, but I think T-Mac is. Now, after watching...
Coker or Leggett?
I'm going to go Coker.
You have to keep one.
Yeah, I know this game. I understand. I think you go Coker. I think Coker in my head right now is a more solid player.
So T-Mac and Coker, those are your top 2 pretty much.
Well, again, I think Thielen is there. I'm not discrediting him, but you're saying keeping, so I'm
sure,
also...
age-wise, yeah, makes sense. Money-wise, yeah.
But Leggett, I think he has more potential than Coker. But Coker right now is just a better player, and I don't know if we're going to tap that potential with Leggett. He doesn't seem to be getting it as much as I thought he would be by this time.
Yeah, I mean, outside of speed, I mean, Coker runs better routes. He's got better hands. Height-wise, I think they're pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Leggett's huge and fast.
Physical freak.
Yeah, those are the 2 things that he's got on him. If you look at the 2 of them, you would probably take Leggett every time if you didn't know anything else. But yeah, I like Coker a lot, and to me, as you said, I think he should have supplanted Leggett on the depth chart. I would be very comfortable having Coker starting opposite T-Mac with Thielen kind of in there at slot or wherever they put him.
Again, that's the only reason why I would choose Coker over Thielen is just the age thing and going forward. But
sure, yeah.
But right now, I think, and you were talking about lighting a fire under someone. I think putting Coker over Leggett on the unofficial depth chart would have definitely helped with that.
Yeah.
Been like, whoa, dude, you got kicked out.
Yeah.
You got kicked out in the first series. Too bad. Or second series, whatever.
100%.
Meanwhile,
100%.
Coker,
I would love to see it.
Coker scored a touchdown, made some plays, made a fantastic catch that was called back.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess finally we both want to see Bryce continue his ascension to more top tier quarterback. So definitely want to see that. Hopefully the first team offensive line can keep him safe, and no sacks for Bryce. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Would love to see that. So yeah.
I don't know much about the Texans besides CJ Stroud, and so I don't know really what to look for them. I haven't had a chance to really get into it, but they're a good team, and I'm looking forward to the joint practices and everything.
Agreed. Well, we are a day away, so
yeah.
Look for your news on Thursday and Friday for the joint practices, and then get ready for that preseason game at 1:00 Saturday afternoon.
So weird, man. All right, I think that's gonna do it for us. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMixPodcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com, or you can call and text us at 980-494-0071 and leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on the show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
And we'll definitely get that number in the description and in the podcast description as well. So please reach out.
Yeah, I had to wing it and put that in the middle of the conversation in my bio.
I don't know if we'll be back Saturday evening after the game. It kind of depends on what's going on. I've got a thing Saturday, so it may be Sunday, but either way, we'll be back after the this weekend at some point to discuss what happened. And until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.